టిక్ చేస్తే నీకు అర్థమవుతది. ప్రాక్సీస్ కూడా ఏం చేయాలి. నేను నీకు ఒక ప్రాక్సీ పంపించాను. మీ గ్రూప్‌లో పెట్టాడు.
ప్రాక్సీ ఎవరు ఇస్తారు? అది కాన్స్టెంట్ ఉండదండి. టిక్ చేస్తే నీకు అర్థమవుతది.
ఎన్ని కాదు
ప్రాక్సీస్
చూపిస్తారు. ఈ ఫైల్‌లో ఉండే ప్రాక్సీ ఫైల్ చేంజ్ చేసాము. దీనివల్ల మనకి ఈ పని చేసింది.
పిల్లలు వెళ్ళిండ్రా అమ్మా?
ఇప్పుడే వెళ్ళింది.
Okay. Another couple of minutes, we'll start. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sapan Prabhu, Sandhya Mataji, Rashmi Mataji, Lovish Prabhu, Lavanya Dandapranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining today and thank you for waiting. We'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Budle Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhinamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangam langayate girim Yat kripātamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram Om Pavitra Pavitra Sarvavas Sangatu Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhahyabhyantaram Suchihi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Divyavachaksh Sada Pashyanti Surayo Divyavachakshanatanam Sada Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayo Divyavachakshanatanam Sad Vipraso Vipanyaho Chagrahamsa Samindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram So we are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. So let me sing this two stanzas quickly. Okay. Yadi Prabhupada Haito Abe ki Haito E Jivana ki Sikha E Jivana Bahita ki se Yadi Prabhupada Haito Tabe ki Haito E Jivana Bahita ki se Nitai Gaurera Para Karuna Nitai Gaurera Apara Karuna Kedita Sakala Deshe Nitai Gaurera Apara Karuna Kedita Sakala Deshe Pashatere Ayata Papi Durachari Shunyavadi Mayavadi Paschatera yata papi durachara shunyavadi mayavadi. Paschatera yata papi durachari shunyavadi mayavadi. Tadera buddhara karibare mana hena kono dayanidhi. Tadera buddhara karibare mana hena kono dayanidhi yadi prabhupada haito tabe ki haito jivana bahita ki se. If Srila Prabhupada had not come, what would have happened? How could we have crossed our lives? Who else would have distributed the unlimited mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga all over the world? Which other compassionate person would have endeavored to deliver the miscreants, sinful, impersonalistic, and voyeuristic people in the West? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll continue tomorrow. Stop sharing. Now start sharing this one. Okay, we are here in this paragraph. We'll continue. So, yeah.
Prabhuji, we have been doing Mangalacharan.
I done. Mangalacharan done.
Okay.
I am doing only quick Mangalacharana, Prabhu, not fully I am doing. Okay, because of the time frame. Of course we can do, but it's okay. Quick also no fine, not a problem. We always have to remember Prabhupada and Sri Panchatattva and Hare Krishna Mahamantra. A big class, a 1.5 hour class, 2 hours class. Okay, we have 40 to 50 minutes reading. Quick is okay. Quick, like, Om Ajnanaatimirandasya. So then, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, then Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's it. Very well. We'll continue where we stopped yesterday. So this is the paragraph we are supposed to read today. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Lilamrita, volume 1, 21 chapter. What is that 21 chapter name? Lower East Side. Is started big movement here. Beyond the Lower East Side. He is expanding slowly. How it's taken place. All the things. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read out names. Sandhya Mataji, can you please start?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yeah, Danda Pranam Mataji, please continue.
after the morning kirtan, Prabhuji, I'm my resound వస్తుంది Prabhuji.
Resound, okay. 1 second. Please read Mataji.
After the morning kirtan, Swami said, as usual, now chant one round. They chanted together, following him. They all had a vow to chant 16 rounds daily, but they chanted the first round in the morning in the Swami's presence, so he could see each of them. As Swamiji chanted, he looked out at Second Avenue, which was mostly deserted, or at the pictures on the wall, or with concerned glances at the individual devotees. Sometimes he seemed surprised when he saw them chanting so earnestly, giving evidence of the power of the holy name to deliver even the most fallen. Some of the devotees kept their beads in a bag like his, but when they chanted the first round together in the morning, they imitated him by holding their beads out in both hands and chanting along with him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, until they finished one round. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please continue.
Then he held up the unfamiliar red book. Because you are a little advanced, he said. I'm going to read today from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya what? No one was able to pick up the pronunciation. They had heard of Chaitanya, certainly, but not of this new book. But in his room, the night before, Prabhupada had informed some of the devotees that he would start reading from a new book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said that Lord Chaitanya had told one of his disciples that understanding Krishna was not really possible, but that he would give the disciple just a drop of the ocean of Krishna consciousness so that the disciple could then appreciate what the whole ocean must be like. Be patient as at present is, he had told them. It is revolutionary, but you should just be patient.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Next, Rashmi Mataji. Next, Vani Mataji. Next, Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, please read.
In the storefront, this one only, na Prabhu?
This one.
Yeah. In the storefront, Brahmananda turned on the reel-to-reel tapes recorder as Swamiji began reading the Bengali verses, and both Sat Swarupa and Umapati opened their notebooks and waited, poised for a rapid note-taking. It was almost a college classroom atmosphere as Prabhupada cleared his throat, put on his eyeglasses, and peered over the large open volume, turning to the correct page. Whenever he wore the glasses, he seemed to reveal the new personality of deep Vaishnava scholarship. This feature of Swamiji emphasized the old age, not that it showed him feeble or invalid, but it emphasized his scholarship and wisdom and his contemplation of the scriptures. In contrast to his vigorous drum playing in Tompkins Square Park or his alert business dealing while looking for a new building, Swamiji began reading and translating the story of Sanatana. Swarup wrote Sutta and Umapati wrote Sonotan, and his brother Rupa, and how they became intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya. It was a historical account. Rupa and Sanatana had been born as a Brahmanas in India, but they had served in the government under the Muslims who were in power at the time. The two brothers had even adopted Muslim names. But when Lord Chaitanya was touring in their part of the country, they had met him and had become determined to give up their materialistic ways and follow his path of pure love of God. Rupa, who was so rich that he had enough gold to fill 2 boats, left his high government post, divided his wealth, became a mendicant, and joined Lord Chaitanya. For Sanatana, however, there were more obstacles. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah, read one more. Yeah.
The Nawab Shah, the chief Muslim ruler of the provinces of Bengal, was dependent on Sanatana managerial expertise. But Sanatana began staying home and submitting sick reports, while actually he had employed a dozen Brahmanas who were teaching him the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Nawab sent his physician to find out the actual state of Sanatana's health, and when the Nawab heard that Sanatana was not actually ill, he himself arrived one day, surprising Sanatana and the Brahmanas. The Nawab demanded the Sanatana return to his government work and leave him free to do some hunting and to leave Bengal on a military campaign. But Sanatana said that he could not, that he was now determined to study the scriptures and that the Nawab could do with him whatever he liked. At this challenges, the Nawab imprisoned Sanatana.
Imprisoned.
Imprisoned Sanatana.
Thank you, Mataji. Vani Mataji. Vani Mataji.
ప్రభుజీ నేను దీప మాతాజీ తర్వాత చదువుతాను నెక్స్ట్.
Okay. Yeah, Deepa Mataji.
Also, you should not appear to
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, and Pranam.
Dhanavad Pranam.
Yeah, 1 second.
Swamiji looked at his watch. Morning classes were shorter than those in the evening, only half an hour. And Rupanuga, Satsvarupa, and Brahmananda had to go to work. He paused in his narration. So we will discuss tomorrow. Prabhupada closed the book, and after a few informal words, he got up and left the storefront, followed by Kirtanananda, who carried his book and glasses. Yeah. Breakfast was served every morning in the storefront. Either Achyutananda or Kirtanananda would cook an oatmeal cereal for the devotees. Satswarupa had read in an English edition of the Ramayana about some sages preparing a mystical cereal called Heavenly Porridge. The name had caught on, and the devotees began calling their own cereal Heavenly Porridge. The popular fare would consist of steaming hot heavenly porridge, sweetened to taste with sugar syrup from the gulab jamun pot, hot milk and fruit, and each devotee would get an ISKCON bullet. At breakfast this morning, the talk was of Rupa and Sanatana. Umapati said the Chaitanya Charitamrita was available in an English translation, but maybe the Swami wouldn't want them to read it. We will hear it from Swamiji. Kirtanananda said. Hayagriva was amused at the cliffhanger ending of the class. Tune in tomorrow. He laughed loosely. And hear what happened too. What's his name? The devotees responded differently. Santan, Sonotan, Sanatana. Hayagriva, yeah, tune in tomorrow and hear. Will Sanatana get out of jail? They were not the most sober group when together, especially after taking the thick sweet syrup. Achyutananda spilled some of the syrup on the rug and Kirtanananda admonished him. Jadurani ate silently and hurried to begin a day's painting in Prabhupada's room. Satsvarupa adjusted his tie, and he and Rupanuga and Brahmananda went to their jobs. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, now you are able to do Vani Mataji.
Yes, ప్రభుజీ చదువుతాను. The next morning, the Chaitanya Charitamrita seminar began with Sanatana in jail, planning how to get free to join Lord Chaitanya. His brother Rupa sent him a note saying that he had left a large sum of gold for Sanatana in the care of a grocer, and Sanatana offered the gold to the jailer as a bribe. He told him, "Sir, I know that you are a very learned man, and in your Quran, it says that if you aid someone, it's Mantri Quran. And in your Quran, it says that if you aid someone in going to spiritual life, then you will be elevated to the highest post. I am going to Lord Chaitanya, and if you will assist me in escaping, it will be a spiritual gain for you. Also, I will give you 500 gold coins, so it will be a material gain as well." The jailkeeper said, "All right, but I'm afraid of the king." So Sanatana advised him, "Just say that when I'm passing stool by the river, I fell in with my chains and was washed away." For 700 gold coins, the jailer agreed to help Sanatana and sawed off the shackles. Sanatana, accompanied by his servant, then fled by the back roads until the night time he came upon a hotel. In this hotel was kept by thieves. Now this hotel was kept by thieves, and an astrologer at the hotel read Sanatana's palm and judged by the stars that he had money. When Sanatana asked for assistance in passing over the jungle mountains, the hotel keeper said that he would help Sanatana leave. In the dead of the night, they treated Sanatana with great respect, which made him suspicious, since he hadn't eaten in 3 days and his clothes were unclean. So he asked his servant if he had any money. The servant said yes, he had 7 gold coins, and Sanatana immediately took the money to the hotel keeper, who was already planning to kill him during the night and take his money. Swamiji looked at his watch. Again, they had gone over time. "So we will continue tomorrow," he said, closing the book. How Sanatana manages to escape the dacoits. Kirtanananda Brahm. Yeah. Prabhuji?
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Lavanya, you want to read?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Kirtanananda, Brahmananda, Achyutananda, Gargamuni, Saswarupa, Hayagriva, Umapati, Jadurani, Rupanuga, Damodara, Danclad, their lives had all been transformed. Over the months, they had transferred the center of their lives to Swamiji, and everything revolved around and routine of classes and Kirtana and Prasadam and coming and going to and from the storefront. Brahmananda and Gargamuni had given up their apartment several months ago and moved into the storefront. The ceiling of Achyutananda's apartment had caved in one day, just minutes after he had left the room, and he had decided to move to the storefront also. Hayagriva and Umapati had cleaned up their Mod Street place, were using it only for chanting, sleeping, or reading Swamiji's Bhagavatam. Saswarupa Das had announced one day that the devotees could use his apartment just around the corner from the temple for taking showers, and the next day Rama Raya had moved in,
Rai Rama.
and the others,
Rai Rama.
Rai Rama had moved in, and the others began using the apartment as a temple annex. Jadurani kept making her early morning treks from the Bronx. Swamiji had said that he had no objection to her living in the second room of his apartment, but that people would talk. Even Rupanuga and Damodara, whose backgrounds and tastes were different, were also positively dependent on the daily morning class and the evening class 3 nights a week, and in knowing that Swamiji was always there in his apartment whenever they needed him. Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Continue. Go to.
Yeah. There were, however, some threats to this security. Prabhupada would sometimes say that unless he got permanent residency from the government, he would have to leave the country. But he had gone to a lawyer, and after the initial alarm, it seemed that Swamiji would stay indefinitely. There was also the threat that he might go to San Francisco. He said he was going, but then sometimes he said he was not. If he negotiations through Mr. Price for the building on 10th Street came through. Then Swamiji said he would make his headquarters in New York City and not go to San Francisco. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let me check. Lavish Prabhu, then Sapan Prabhu. Lavish Prabhu? Sapan Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. But at least in the morning sessions, as his disciples listened to him speak on Chaitanya Charitamrita, these threats were all put out of mind, and the timeless, intimate teachings took up their full attention. Krishna consciousness was a struggle, keeping yourself strictly following Swamiji's code against Maya. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. But it was possible as long as they could hear him singing and reading and speaking from Chaitanya Charitamrita. They counted on his presence for their Krishna consciousness. He was the center of their newly spiritualized lives, and he was all they knew of Krishna consciousness. As long as they could keep coming and seeing him, Krishna consciousness was a sure thing, as long as he was there. Seated on the worn rug, they looked up at him, waiting for him to begin the next installment. Prabhupada cleared his throat and glanced down at Brahmananda, who sat beside the silently running tape recorder. Satsvarupa entered the date in his notebook. Prabhupada began reading the Bengali verses and paraphrasing. Sanatana took the seven gold coins from his servant and gave them to the hotel keeper. "You have 8 coins," the astrologer said, and Sanatana went back and found that his servant was retaining another gold coin. "Why do you carry this death knell on the road?" Sanatana asked. "You are too attached to money." And he took the gold piece from his servant and told him to return home. Sanatana then brought the gold coin to the hotel keeper. But the hotel keeper, who admitted that he had intended to kill Sanatana for his money, now said, "You are a good man and you may keep your money." But Sanatana refused. Then the hotel keeper provided Sanatana with 4 assistants. They helped Sanatana through the jungle and then left him alone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Lavish Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Free from his nuisance servant and from the dacoits, Sanatana felt liberated as he passed along the road alone. Soon he came upon his brother-in-law, who was traveling alone along the same road. His brother-in-law was a wealthy man carrying a great deal of money to buy horses. "Please stay with me at least a few days," Sanatana's brother-in-law said. "It's really bad how you look." The brother-in-law knew that Sanatana was going to spiritual life, but he requested that he improve his dress by accepting a valuable blanket from him. Sanatana took the blanket and continued on his way.
Continue.
At last, Sanatana reached Benares and he went straight to the home of Chandrasekhara, where Lord Chaitanya was staying and waiting outside the door. Lord Chaitanya knew Sanatana had arrived, and he requested Chandrasekhara to go to the door and ask the devotee who was waiting there to come in. Chandrasekhara went out but saw only the wretched-looking Sanatana, whom he took to be a half-mad Mohammedan fakir. Chandrasekhara returned to Lord Chaitanya and explained that there was no devotee outside. "Was there anyone at all?" the Lord asked. "Yes," said Chandrasekhara, "some wretched fakir." Then Lord Chaitanya went to the door and embraced Sanatana. The Lord cried tears of ecstasy, for he had at last found a devotee whom he knew was worthy to receive his entire teachings. And Sanatana cried tears of joy that his life's ambition was being fulfilled. But because he was dirty from his traveling and not worthy, he asked the Lord not to touch him. The Lord replied, "It is I who benefit from touching you. Whoever touches a true devotee is blessed." Prabhupada closed the book, ending another morning session. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Adi Lalit Mohan Prabhu, you are able to do? Revolve?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Please read.
Prabhupada closed the book, ending another morning session. One of Prabhupada's main concerns was to finish and publish as soon as possible his translation and commentary of Bhagavad Gita. And one day, something happened that enabled him to increase his work on the manuscript. Unexpectedly, a boy named Neil arrived. He was a student from Antioch College on a special work study program, and he had the school's approval to work one term within the ashram of Swami Bhaktivedanta, which he had heard about through the newspapers. Neil mentioned that he was a good typist, if that could be of any help to the Swami. Prabhupada considered this to be Krishna's blessing. Immediately, he rented a dictaphone and began dictating tapes. Haigriva donated his electric typewriter, and Neil set up his work area in Swamiji's front room and began typing 8 hours a day. This inspired Prabhupada and obliged him to produce more. He worked quickly, sometimes day and night, on his Bhagavad Gita as it is. He had founded ISKCON 5 months ago, yet in his classes he was still reading the Bhagavad Gita translation of Dr. Radha Krishnan. But when Bhagavad Gita as it is would at last be published, he told his disciples it would be of a major importance for the Krishna consciousness movement. At last, there would be a bona fide edition of Gita. Should I end, Prabhu?
And read one more.
Okay, whatever Swamiji said or did, his disciples wanted to hear about it. Gradually, they had increased their faith and devotion to Swamiji, whom they accepted as God's representative. And they took his actions and words to be absolute. After one of his disciples had been alone with him, the others would gather around to find out every detail of what had happened. It was Krishna consciousness. Jadurani was especially guileless in relating with Swamiji, in relating what Swamiji had said or done. One day, Prabhupada had stepped on a tack that Jadurani had dropped on the floor. And although she knew it was a serious offense to her spiritual master, the major importance of the event seemed to be how Prabhupada had displayed his transcendental consciousness.
Continue.
Yeah. He silently and emotionlessly reached down and pulled the tack from his foot without so much as a cry. And once, when she was fixing a painting over his head behind the desk, she had accidentally stepped on his sitting mat. Is that an offense? She had asked, and Swamiji had replied, no, for service, you could even stand on my head. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hari bol. Thank you, Prabhu. Madhai Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam. Please read, Mataji.
Sometimes Brahmananda would say that Swamiji had told him something very intimate about Krishna consciousness in private. But when he would tell what Swamiji had said, someone else would recall that the same thing was in Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada had said that the spiritual master is present in his instructions and that he had tried to put everything into those 3 volumes of Bhagavatam, and the devotees were finding this to be true. There were no secrets in Swami. Shri Kanya Prabhu?
Yeah.
There were no secrets in Swamiji's families of devotees. Everyone knew that Umapati had left for a few days, disappointed with the Swami's severe criticism of the Buddhists, but had come back, and in a heavy, sincere exchange with Prabhupada, he had decided to take to Krishna consciousness again. And everyone knew that Satswarupa had resigned from his job, and that when he went to tell Swamiji about it, Swamiji had told him that he couldn't quit but should go on earning money for Krishna and donating it to the society, and that this would be his best service. And everyone knew that Swamiji wanted Gargamuni to cut his hair. Swamiji called it Gargamuni's Shakespearean locks, but what he would not do. So the year ended and Prabhupada was still working on his manuscript of Bhagavad Gita, still lecturing in the mornings from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings from Bhagavad Gita, and still talking of going to San Francisco. Then New Year's Eve came, and the devotees suggested that since this was a holiday, then people go out to celebrate. Maybe they should hold a Krishna conscious festival.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Today, a lot of devotees came up. Tulasi Mataji, Chandramagil Prabhu,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dhanavad Pranam Mataji. Please read. We are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We are at 21st chapter of first volume. Can continue from here.
Okay, Prabhu. Rupanuga. So we had a big feast and a lot of people came, although it wasn't as crowded as the Sunday feast. We were all taking prasadam and Swamiji was sitting up on his dais and he was also taking prasadam. He was demanding that we eat lots of prasadam and then he was saying, chant, chant. So we were eating and chanting Hare Krishna between bites and he was insisting on more and more prasadam. I was amazed. He stayed with us and kept insisting that we eat so much. He stayed until around 11 o'clock and then he became drowsy and the party was over. Morning
Continue.
after morning.
Yeah, read, Mataji. Continue.
Morning after morning, the story of Sanatana Goswami unfolded from the pages of Swamiji's big book, which only could read and explain. Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana that he should be very grateful that Krishna had been merciful to him, to which Sanatana replied, You say that Krishna is very merciful, but I do not know who Krishna is. You have saved me. Lord Chaitanya had many devotees in Benares and he sent Sanatana to home of one of his friends where he could get something to eat, take a bath, shave, and dress in new clothing. Sanatana, however, refused the new clothing and he also refused to become dependent on one place for his meals. Now that he had entered the renounced order, he preferred to go begging his meals at different places each day. When Lord Chaitanya saw all this, he was pleased, but Sanatana sensed that this valuable blanket did not please the Lord, so he traded the new blanket for an old one. This pleased Lord Chaitanya, who said, Now you are completely renounced. Your last attachment is gone by the mercy of Krishna. By mercy of Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you. Brahmaramba Mataji.
Prabhuji, sorry, Prabhuji, I will be in listening mode, Prabhuji. I have some work.
Acha. Thank you, no problem. Yes. Chandramal Prabhu, continue. Yes.
Sanatana submitted himself at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and said, I have wasted my time in sense gratification. I am low born and I have low association. I have no qualification for spiritual life. I do not even know what is actually beneficial for me. People say that I am learned, but I am fool. I am fool number one because although people say I am learned and although I accept it, still I do not know who I am. Sanatana presented himself as a blank slate, and he inquired from the Lord, "Who am I? Why am I in this world, in this material world? Why am I suffering?" Prabhupada emphasized that this was the perfect way for a disciple to accept a spiritual master. After narrating the story of Sanatana joining Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada began lecturing on the Lord's teachings to the Sanatana. Lord Chaitanya first explained that the living being is not the material body, but an eternal living soul within the body. Then for 2 months, Lord Chaitanya instructed Sanatana, revealing to him the deepest and most sublime philosophical truths of Vedic wisdom. He enlightened the Sanatana regarding the soul and its relationship with Krishna. Krishna, the nature of the material and spiritual worlds, the characteristics of a fully realized soul, and the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna and his unlimited forms, expansions, incarnations, and divine pastimes. He explained the superiority of the path of Bhakti Yoga over the paths of philosophical speculation and yogi mysticism. and he revealed to Sanatana the esoteric knowledge of spiritual ecstasy experienced by those souls who have achieved a pure love for Krishna. These teachings of the Lord were like an ocean that overflooded the mind of Sanatana Goswami with its sweetness and grandeur. When Lord Chaitanya had finished instructing Sanatana, he gave Sanatana the benediction that all these sublime teachings would be fully manifested within his heart, this enabling him to compose transcendental literature. For 2 months, Lord Chaitanya had instructed Sanatana Goswami, and for 2 months, starting in mid-November of 1966, Srila Prabhupada narrated in over 50 lectures the Chaitanya Charitamrita's account of those teachings. Although each of his talks covered the subject matter of the verses, his lectures were never limited to his subject, nor were they prepared talks.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Jai. So let me read some. Sometimes during the evening gatherings in his room, Swamiji would ask whether Mukunda was ready on the west coast. For months, Prabhupada's going to the west coast had been one of a number of alternatives. But then, during the first week of the new year, a letter arrived from Mukunda. He had rented a storefront in the heart of the Hyatt Ashbury district on Frederick Street. We are busy converting it into a temple now, he wrote, and Prabhupada announced, I shall go immediately. Mukunda had told of a gathering of the tribes in San Francisco Hyatt Ashbury. Thousands of hippies were migrating from all over the country to the very neighborhood where Mukunda had rented the storefront. It was a youth renaissance, much bigger than what was going on in New York City. In a scheme to raise funds for the new temple, Mukunda was planning a mantra rock dance. This is very, very crucial and very turning moment of Krishna consciousness, mantra rock dance. And famous rock bands were going to appear, and Swami Bhaktivedanta and the chanting of Hare Krishna were to be the center of attraction. Although in his letter Mukunda had enclosed a plane ticket, some of Swamiji's followers refused to accept that Swamiji would use it. Those who knew they could not leave New York began to criticize the idea of Swamiji is going to San Francisco. They didn't think that people out on the West Coast could take care of Swamiji properly. Swamiji appearing with rock musicians. Those people out there didn't seem to have the proper respect. Anyway, there was no suitable temple there. There was no printing press, no Back to Garden magazine. Why should Swamiji leave New York to attend a function like that with strangers in California? How could he leave them behind in New York? How could their spiritual life continue without him? Timidly, one or two dissenters indirectly expressed some of these feelings to Prabhupada, as if almost wishing to admonish him for thinking of leaving him, and even hinting that things would not go well, either in San Francisco or New York, if he departed. But they found Prabhupada quite confident and determined. He did not belong to New York. He belonged to Krishna, and he had to go wherever Krishna desired him to preach. Prabhupada showed a spirit of complete detachment, eager to travel and expand the chanting of Hare Krishna. Very nice. Prabhupada showed a spirit of complete detachment, eager to travel and expand the chanting of Hare Krishna. So there is one word now. Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Shata. They cannot be in one place. They always travel and preach and distribute the holy name of the Lord. Yes, Haribol. We'll continue from here again quickly. Again, Sandhya Mataji, we will complete this chapter today. Just a few more paragraphs. Yeah, please continue.
Brahmananda, but we were shocked that he was going to leave. I never thought that Krishna consciousness would go beyond the Lower East Side. What to speak of New York City? I thought that this was it, and it would stay here eternally.
Continue.
In the last days of the second week of January, final plane reservations were made, and the devotees began packing Swamiji's manuscripts away in trunks. Ranchor, a new devotee recruited from Tompkins Square Park, had enough money for a plane ticket, and the devotees decided that he should accompany Prabhupada as his personal assistant. Prabhupada explained that he would only be gone a few weeks and that he wanted all the programs to go on in his absence.
Very well.
And
Thank you.
Prabhuji,
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, mana Rashmi Mataji. Then
Hare
morning
Krishna.
ప్రభుజీ నేను లలిత్ మోహన్ ప్రభు చేయలేదు సెకండ్ రౌండ్ లో.
సెకండ్ లో ఇప్పుడే స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నా ప్రభు. అందరిది
ఓకే
ఈరోజు ప్రెజెంట్స్ 14 devotees, including all of us, including me, myself. Right? So, second time చదువుతున్నాం ప్రభు. It's okay. Yeah.
He waited. Yes, Prabhuji. He waited in his room while the boys arranged for a car to take him to the airport. The day was grey and cold, and steam hissed in the radiators. He would take only a suitcase, mostly clothes and some books. He checked the closet to see that his manuscripts were in order. Kirtanananda would take care of his things in his apartment. He sat down at his desk where for more than 6 months he had sat so many times, working for hours at the typewriter, preparing his Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and where he had sat talking to so many guests and to his followers. But today he would not be talking with friends or typing manuscripts, but waiting a last few minutes alone before his departure. This was his second winter in New York. He had launched a movement of Krishna consciousness. A few sincere boys and girls had joined. They were already well known on the Lower East Side. Many notices in the newspapers, and it was only the beginning. He had left. Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Vani Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. He had left Vrindavana for this. At first, he had not been certain whether he would stay in America more than 2 months. In Butler, he had presented his books. But then in New York, he had seen how Dr. Mishra had developed things, and the Mayavadis had big building. They were taking money and not even delivering the real message of Gita. But the American people were looking. It had been a difficult year. His godbrothers hadn't been interested in helping, although this was what their Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura wanted, and what Lord Chaitanya wanted. Lord Chaitanya wanted it. His blessings would come, and it would happen. This was a nice place, 26 2nd Avenue. He had started here. The boys would keep it up. Some of them were donating their salaries. It was a start. Prabhupada looked at his watch. He put on his tweed winter coat and his hat and shoes, put his right hand in his bead bag, and continued chanting. He walked out of the apartment, down the stairs, and through the courtyard, which was now frozen and still, its trees starkly bare, without a single leaf remaining, and he left the storefront behind. He left, even while Brahmananda, Rupanuga, and Shataswarupa were at their office jobs. There was not even a farewell scene or farewell address.
Very well. So we'll continue next chapter also. Since devotee is there, we'll continue next chapter also. Lilamrita.
Yes, sir.
Swami invites the hippies. Next, Deepa Mataji, please start. Chapter 22, 1967, January
Yes, sir.
16.
Swami invites the hippies, January 16, 1967. As the United Airlines jet descended on the San Francisco Bay Area, Srila Prabhupada turned to his disciple Ranchor and said, "The buildings look like matchboxes. Just imagine how it looks from Krishna's viewpoint." Srila Prabhupada was 71 years old, and this had been his first air trip. Ranchor, 19, and dressed in a suit and tie, was supposed to be Srila Prabhupada's secretary. He was a new disciple but had raised some money and had asked to fly to San Francisco with Srila Prabhupada. During the trip, Srila Prabhupada had spoken little. He had been chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His right hand in his cloth bead bag. He had been fingering one bead after another as he chanted silently to himself. When the plane had first risen over New York City, he had looked out the window at the buildings growing smaller and smaller. When the plane had entered the clouds, which to Prabhupada had appeared like an ocean in the sky, he had been bothered by the pressure blocking his ears and had mentioned it, otherwise, he hadn't said much, but had only chanted Krishna's names over and over. Now, as the plane began its descent, he continued to chant, his voice slightly audible, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And he looked out the window at the vista of the house of thousands of matchbox houses and streets stretching in charted patterns in every direction. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Madhavi Mataji, Lavanya, please ready. Lavanya Madhavi Mataji, please continue. Madhavi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Lavanya, if you are ready, please.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. When the announcement for United Airlines Flight 21 from New York came over the public address system, the group of about 50 VIPs gathered closer together in anticipation. For a moment, they appeared almost apprehensive, unsure of what to expect or what the Swami would be like. Roger Segal, we were quite an asserted lot, even for the San Francisco airport. Mukunda was wearing a Merlin the magician robe with 5-6 squares all around. Sam was wearing a Moroccan sheep robe with a hood. He even smelled like a sheep. And I was wearing a sort of blue homemade Japanese samurai robe with small white dots. Long strings of beads were everywhere. Buckskins, boots, army fatigue, people wearing small round sunglasses. The whole phantasmagoria of San Francisco at its height.
Read this one.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Read this one also.
Yeah. Okay. Only a few people in the crowd knew Swamiji. Mukunda and his wife Janaki, Ravindra Swarupa, Raya Rama, all from New York, and Ellen Ginsberg was there. A few days before, Ellen had been one of the leaders of the Human Being in Golden Gate Park, where over 200,000 had come together. A gathering of the tribes for a joyful powwow and peace dance. Today, Ellen was on hand to greet Swami Bhaktivedanta, whom he had met and chatted with several months before on New York's Lower East Side. Thank you, Professor Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Lavanya, continue.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Swamiji would be pleased. Mukunda reminded everyone, if they were all chanting Hare Krishna, then he came through the gate when they were already familiar with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They had heard about Swamiji's chanting in the park in New York City, or they had seen the article about Swamiji and the chanting in the local underground paper, The Oracle. Earlier today, they had gathered in Golden Gate Park, most of them responding to a flyer Mukunda had distributed, and had chanted there for more than 1 hour before coming to the airport in a caravan of cars. Now many of them, also in response to Mukunda's flyer, stood with incense and flowers in their hands. As the disembarking passengers entered the terminal gate and walked up to the ramp, they looked in amazement at the reception party of flower-bearing chanters. The chanters, however, gazed past these ordinary, tired-looking travelers, searching for that special person who was supposed to be on the plane. Suddenly strolling toward them was the Swami, golden complexion, dressed in bright saffron robes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah. What is it? Okay. Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sapan Prabhu, please read.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada had heard the chanting, and even before he had entered the terminal, and he had begun to smile. He was happy and surprised. Glancing over the faces, he recognized only a few. Yet here were 50 people receiving him and chanting Hare Krishna without his having said a word. Mukunda, we just had a look at Swamiji and then we bowed down. myself, my wife, and the friends I had brought, Sam and Marjorie. Then all of the young men and women there followed suit and all bowed down to Swamiji, just feeling very confident it was the right and proper thing to do. The crowd of hippies had formed a line on either side of a narrow passage through which Swamiji would walk. As he passed among his new admirers, dozens of hands stretched out to offer him flowers and incense. He smiled, collecting the offerings in his hands while Rancho looked on. Allen Ginsberg stepped forward with a large bouquet of flowers, and Srila Prabhupada graciously accepted it. Then Prabhupada began offering the gifts back to all who reached out to receive them. He proceeded through the terminal, and the crowd of young people walking beside him chanting. Hare Krishna.
Wait, one more.
At the baggage claim, Srila Prabhupada waited for a moment, his eyes taking in everyone around him. Lifting his open palms, he beckoned everyone to chant louder, and the group burst into renewed chanting. With Prabhupada standing in their midst, softly clapping his hands and singing Hare Krishna. Gracefully, he then raised his arms above his head and began to dance, stepping and swaying from side to side.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Lavish Prabhu, then Lalit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. To the mixed charging, amusement, and irresistible joy of the airport worker and passengers, the reception party stayed with Prabhupada until he got his luggage. Then they escorted him, Hare Krishna, escorted him outside into the sunlight and into the waiting car, a black 1949 Cadillac Fleetwood. Prabhupada got into the back seat with Mukunda and Allen Ginsberg. Until the moment the car pulled away from the curb, Srila Prabhupada, still smiling, continued handing flower to all those who had come to welcome him as he brought Krishna consciousness west. The Cadillac belonged to Harvey Cohen, who almost a year before had allowed Prabhupada to stay in his body lot. Harvey was driving, but because of his shepherd's hat picked up at a Salvalian army store and his black suit and his beard, Prabhupada did not recognize him. Where is Harvey? Prabhupada asked. He is driving, Mukunda said. Oh, is that you? I did not recognize you. Harvey smiled. Welcome to San Francisco, Swamiji. Srila Prabhupada was happy to be in another big western city on behalf of his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and Lord Chaitanya. The further west one goes, Lord Chaitanya has said, the more materialistic the people. Yet Lord Chaitanya had also said that Krishna consciousness should spread all over the world. Prabhupada's godbrothers had wondered about Lord Chaitanya's statement that one day the name of Krishna would be sung in every town and village. Perhaps that verse should be taken symbolically. They said, otherwise, what could it mean? Krishna is Krishna in every town. But Srila Prabhupada had deep faith in that statement by Lord Chaitanya and in the instructions of his spiritual master. Here he was in the far western city of San Francisco, and already people were chanting. They had enthusiastically received him with flowers and kirtan. And all over the world, there were other cities much like this one. The temple Mukunda and his friends had obtained was the Frederick Street in the Ashley-Asperg district. Like the temple at 26 2nd Avenue in New York, it was a small storefront with a display window facing the street. A sign over the window read, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple. Mukunda and his friends had also rented a 3-room apartment for Swamiji on the 3rd floor of the adjoining building. It was a small, bare, run-down apartment facing the street.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Lalit Prabhu. Around paragraph. Is there Haribol?
Should I go to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Follow
Go.
me?
Go ahead.
Followed by several carloads of devotees and curious seekers, Srila Prabhupada arrived at 518 Frederick Street and entered the storefront, which was decorated only by a few Madras cloths on the wall. Taking his seat on a cushion, he led a kirtana and then spoke, inviting everyone to take up Krishna consciousness. After his lecture, he left the storefront and walked next door and up the 2 flights of stairs to his apartment. As he entered his apartment, number 32, he was followed not only by his devotees and admirers, but also by reporters from San Francisco's main newspapers, the Chronicle and the Examiner. While some devotees cooked his lunch and Ranchor unpacked his suitcase, Swamiji talked with the reporters who sat on the floor, taking notes on their pads. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Chandramal Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, next read. Reporter, some Prabhu.
Yeah. Reporter. Downstairs, you said you were inviting everyone to Krishna consciousness. Does that include the height, Ashbury, Bowmans, and beatniks? Prabhupada. Yes, everyone, including you or anybody else, be he or she, what is called an acid head or a hippie or something else. But once he is accepted for a training, he becomes something else from what he had been before. Reporter. What does one have to do become a member of your movement? Prabhupada. There are 4 prerequisites. I do not allow any students to keep girlfriends. I prohibit all kinds of intoxicants, including coffee, tea, and cigarettes. I prohibit meat eating, and I prohibit my students from taking part in gambling. Reporter. Do these shall not commandments extend to the use of LSD, marijuana, and other narcotics? Prabhupada. I consider LSD to be an intoxicant. I do not allow any one of my students to use that or any intoxicant. I train my students to rise early in the morning, to take bath early in the day, and to attend prayer meetings three times a day. Once our secret is one of our secret is
Our sect.
Our sect is one of austerity. It is the science of God.
Jai, we'll stop here. Oh, yeah, perfect. He himself saying, Prabhupada is saying, Prabhupada words, I consider LS to be an intoxicant. I do not allow any of my students to use that or any intoxicant. I train my students.
What is LSD, Prabhuji?
ఒక డ్రగ్ ఇట్ గివ్ ఒక చాప్టర్ ఉంది స్టే హై అని ఆల్రెడీ అంతకుముందు మీకు మన గూగుల్లో కూడా సెర్చ్ చేసినాం ప్రభు ఒక రకమైనటువంటి హై ఇస్తుంది అనమాట అది వాడి కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటాక్సికెంట్ train my students to rise early in the morning, to take bath early in the day, and to attend prayer meetings 3 times a day. Our sect is one of austerity. అదే కదా austerity, మంగళారతి అటెండ్ అవ్వడము, చదవడము, చాంటింగ్ చేయడము, following the regulatory principles. These are everything is an austerity. It is a science of God. Prabhupada words. We'll stop here. We'll continue from this paragraph tomorrow. Okay. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. The God Premanande are here. So today I think Tulasi Mataji, Brahmarama Mataji, Madhavi Mataji, and yourself, Chandramal Prabhu, from Bhakti Shastri 2.4. So you want to practice direct slokas. So ఒకసారి రిసైడ్ చేయండి ప్రభు మన లలిత్ మోహన్ ప్రభు.
Sorry Prabhuji, not able to read because of the cooking work and all.
అచ్చా, ఓకే, నో ప్రాబ్లం. హియరింగ్ వింటున్నాండి. ఓకే, హియరింగ్ చేయండి. ఓకేనా? ఓకే. సో ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ పుట్టింగ్ 1 second హియర్. ఒక 9 శ్లోకాస్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, 6 ఇక్కడ పెడుతున్నా. ఫస్ట్ BG 13.22 పురుష ప్రకృతిస్థో హి. That one. I'm not sharing. I'm just stop sharing. I'm sharing now. Okay. 13.22 and 13.23 and then 14.26. 3 slokas you practice today. Okay? I'm just putting here. 13 PG 13.20 20 to 23 and then 14.26 PG 14.26. Okay. Just a minute. I didn't update in the morning. So I'm just updating now, so that easy for us. In one slide, we can recite. And that's what it is. Hmm. Control X. Put it in here. Yeah, thank you for waiting. Bhakti Shastri devotees, first ఒకసారి వినండి and then practice చేయండి, ఓకేనా? It's three slokas practice with translation. BG 1322, 1323, 1416. Prabhu చేయండి ఒకసారి. Let them practice.
Okay, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita 13.22. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakritiyan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasatyo janmasu. Bhagavad Gita 13.23. Upadrushtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. Bhagavad Gita 14.16. मां च यो अव्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Perfect. Thank you, Prabhu. So, మరి Bhakti Shastri devotees, 2.0 devotees. Madhai Mataji, Chandramal Prabhu, Tulasi Mataji, please do practice yourself.
Hare Krishna. 13.22 Bhagavad Gita. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmashu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with the material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. Bhagavad Gita 13.23. Upadrastanu mantacha bhakta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha para. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists at the overseer and the permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Bhagavad Gita 14.16. मां जयो व्यभिचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीयैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to this level of Brahman. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, Madhai Mataji or Tulsi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakritim jangunan karanam gunasamhasya sadasatyo nijanmashu. The living entity in material nature that follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. 13.23. Upadrashtanumanta cha bhakta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti chapyukto dehe asmin purusha para. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. 14.16. Mam chayo avyabhicharena भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतिक्येताम् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahma. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Madhavi Mataji.
Bhagavad Gita 13.22 Purusha prakriti stohi bhunte prakriti jan guna karanam guna sangosya sada satyoni janmasu. Translation: the living entity in material nature thus follows the pace of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Bhagavad Gita 13.23 Padrishtanumantasya Bhatha Bhokta Maheshwarah Paramatmeti Chavyukto Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. Translation: yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, who exists as an overseer and permitter, and who is known as a supersoul. Bhagavad Gita 14.16 Mam chayo vyabhichareena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samadhyaitam brahma bhutyaya kalpate. Translation: one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Now, devotees, quickly practice and we can wrap up. Chant, sorry. These are direct nectarian words and purified our consciousness. It's going to purify our consciousness when we recite regularly. Bhagavantani Matali, actually, Bhagavant, song of God, right? So chant, please. Only slokas. Unmute yourself and do it, no?
I'll do, Prabhuji.
Yeah, chant.
पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिज्ञान गुणान् कारणं गुणासङ्गोऽस्य सद् असद्योनिजन्मषु उपदृष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरा परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः मां च यो अव्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सा गुणान् स्मातित्यान्
Samadhityaitan. Sagunan samadhityaitan.
समतित्यैतान् सा गुणान् समतित्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूत्याय कल्पते
Brahma Bhuyaya.
ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Very good.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
That one, Prabhu, do it? Yeah, I just what I'm thinking. Yeah, do it.
Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakritiyan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasatyo nijanmasu upadrishta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha para मां चयो अव्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते.
Very good.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Let me do. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jangunan karanam guna sangosya sadasad yoni janmasu upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha para mamshayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Do it, devotees. We have not done, please.
Prabhuji, I will do, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmasu upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः माञ्चयो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणाः समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. Hare Krishna.
Amazing, amazing, Muralidhar Prabhu. Very nice, very nice.
But
Appreciate it.
I'm seeing here a Telugu version, Prabhu, here in my
Super,
book.
super. Perfect. Nice, nice, nicely recited. Devotees, check. Whoever not.
Prabhuji, enjoy,
Prabhuji, can I
I think, yeah, competition, both of you, everyone.
Deepa Mata
Ante,
will win hands down, Prabhuji. Let her take the seat.
Not like that, Mataji. I have to log into another call at 9:30. So can I finish?
Yeah, please, please, please.
पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः मां च यो अव्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much.
Haribol, Haribol. Yeah. Inka, whoever not done, please do.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'll do it.
Yeah.
पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भूते प्रकृति जनगुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गस्य सद् असद्यो निजन्मसु उपदृष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वर परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः मां च योगविचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सह गुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai, Jai. Thank you. Lavanya, do it.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita 13.22. पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु.
కావాలని నేను పెట్టిన యూ నో రైట్
స్క్రీన్ పెట్టండి.
13:23 ఒకసారి చూసుకొని నీకు వస్తాయి కదా.
ఉపద్రష్టానుమంతా చ భర్త భోక్తా మహేశ్వర పరమాత్మేతి చాప్యుక్తో దేహేస్మిన్ పురుష పరా. 14.26. That is 16 or 26 పడిందా? 16 పడిందా? 26.
తప్పది 26 కరెక్ట్.
26. Yeah, 26.
అప్డేట్.
మాం చో వ్యభిచారేణ భక్తి యోగేన సేవతే సగుణాన్ సమతీత్యైతాన్ బ్రహ్మ భూయాయ కల్పతే.
హరే కృష్ణ 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 హరే 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 రామ 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 హరే హరే. Thank you so much for all of your presence, devotees. Please come to our Manikonda Ramalayam Ratha Yatra on this coming Saturday 4 o'clock. Give us your association. I am not there, but virtually I am always there. Please give us your association and take up some services and participate and pull the Ratha. Please, okay? Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha krupa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Prem. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow. Okay? Hare